If you can't touch the ground or touch your toes or even get past mid-shin because you feel too stiff and tight in your hamstrings and in your glutes, then today's video is going to be really helpful. If you watch through to the end of the video, you're going to learn a simple trick that's going to activate muscles that nobody ever talks about that may prevent you from ever touching the floor or your toes. I only discovered this hidden trick when I was tinkering in my garage and working in the living room on my hip mobility, and I discovered that this simple trick and these ignored muscles really do make a big difference when you're trying to touch your toes. Whenever you look up tutorials to help you touch your toes, including a video that I've done previously, you'll find that most of the videos are going to talk about stretching your hamstrings, and the really good videos like mine will talk about strengthening the hip flexors to help pull you into that stretch position so that you can reach your toes and touch the floor and do whatever it is you want to do down there. But what no videos ever talk about is that there are muscles around your hips and legs that may prevent your hamstrings from actually feeling like they can lengthen. And those are the muscles we're going to talk about today. The hidden muscles that may be preventing your hamstrings from lengthening are your pasty white inner thighs. These muscles never see the light of day and they barely get used in modern life. Just think about what your normal day looks like. Think about every single hip motion that you're doing through the day, and you are basically never ever really challenging your inner thighs. You might be thinking, what's the big deal? Who cares about my inner thighs? Nobody's looking at them, are they? Are people looking at my inner thighs? The answer is it doesn't matter if anyone's looking at your inner thighs, but it is important to make sure that the muscles around your hip joint in all directions are good, strong, and coordinated, and are coordinating with one another. I have found that when the adductors are actually strengthened and balanced out with all the other muscles, your hamstrings will feel safe enough to lengthen and let go so that you can get deeper. So I'm going to show you one simple exercise you can do to increase the strength and activation of your hamstrings, and then I'm going to show you how to use that when you go into the forward fold to touch your toes. You can do this exercise while you're lying down on the floor. I'm doing it on this box to make it easier for you to see some stuff, and so I don't have to move the camera. While you're lying down, you can work on lifting the leg up towards the ceiling. You can just prop yourself here so that you feel stable. Get your shoulder and hips stacked as best you can so that you really just feel the work happening in the inner thigh muscles. You want to go as high as you can without really hiking here. You're not trying to pull the pelvis up. You're just trying to lift that leg up. If you feel like you can't put this foot here the way you see me doing it, that's fine. You can just put a yoga block under your knee and just rest your leg in front of you while you lift up that bottom leg. You want to do slow, controlled reps and make sure you hold that top position so the leg gets challenged to hold up and gets used to using those inner thigh muscles. The good students out there will notice that when I'm in this position, I'm actually in hip extension, which is not what's going to help us when we're in the forward fold. But it is important for us to strengthen the adductors in multiple angles. So we're starting here because it's easy to feel and because I just felt like it. But to improve your forward fold so you can touch your toes, it's really important to then start going into hip flexion with this bottom hip and work on the adductor strength in the hip flex position. Same rules apply. Go slow and controlled. Hold that top position. Count for 5. Count to 20 if you really feel like you want some extra challenge in there. And really focus on feeling the inner thighs working. And when you want to get it even more hip flexed, go for it. If you need a little help, pull it in. That's fine. And then really work on getting those inner thighs firing. That is going to help you through the full range of motion when you're doing the forward fold so you can touch your toes. Do this inner thigh exercise in multiple angles and positions to fatigue. So that might mean you get 5 to 10 repetitions at this hip extended position, and that might mean you get another 5 to 10 here, and then going into deep hip flexion, then maybe you get another 5 to 10, or maybe it's only 3, whatever it is, it's cool. Just make sure you feel those inner thigh muscles working. And the really good students out there will also know you should do both sides. So don't just do one side for some weird reason. You want to make sure you're getting work on both sides, on both legs, in all the positions and angles that you find challenging. do 2 rounds for both sides, and if you feel like one side is obviously weaker than the other, then do an extra round for that weaker side. I want to take a quick second to say thank you to ML and to Seeking Truth for the $10 donations to support this channel. If you want to support this channel too, hit that thanks button or use the PayPal link in the description box. And now let's get back to it. Now that you know how to use your inner thigh muscles, you can fire them up while you're doing your next round of the forward fold. What that looks like is you've got your feet here. You're going to be thinking about pulling them together like this. You're evenly trying to squeeze the floor in like this, and then you're going to go into your forward fold. You're probably going to notice as you fold that the muscles in your inner thigh kind of cut out, and they don't want to do that squeezing anymore. Your job is to slowly go through the range of motion and maintain that light to medium squeeze so that the adductors give you that stable feeling in your hips, and that lets your hamstrings actually let go more. You may find it really interesting that you hit certain angles and those inner thighs cut out, but once you squeeze, you'll be able to go a little bit further, and then they'll cut out again, and then you'll feel stuck, and then you squeeze, and you'll notice that for some magical reason, it's like your brain and the muscles are deciding that, hey, we got this, we can go a little bit further. But it's just going to take a little coaxing, a little practice to keep those inner thigh muscles firing so that you can get down towards the floor. And once you're down here, you might be wondering, why would the inner thighs have anything to do with my ability to forward fold? Why would firing my adductors make my forward fold and my ability to touch my toes so much better? And the answer is twofold. The first reason is that doing this means that your hamstrings are no longer the only muscles that are firing and trying to work eccentrically to stabilize the pelvis. The second reason is that your inner thigh muscles are actually responsible for creating hip flexion. The inner thigh muscles actually attach on the femur and up onto the pelvis. When certain parts of your adductors fire, they actually create hip flexion because they draw the femur closer to their attachment points on the pelvis. That's why when you're squeezing in, you're also activating these hidden hip flexor muscles that are going to help you draw yourself forward into the fold so you can touch your toes and maybe tie your shoes or clip your nails or take some notes on the nature of reality. If you want to integrate these exercises into your life, I'd suggest doing those adductor lifts just twice a week and space it out. So like Monday, Thursday, or Tuesday, Saturday, so you have adequate time to rest. And if you feel like you can do more, tolerate more, and it's helpful, then go ahead and do it 3 times a week. Remember not to cripple yourself with soreness. You want a medium level challenge and you want to feel like you can walk. So don't keep hammering out the same muscles day after day after day unless you enjoy being in pain. You can use that squeezing technique in your forward fold whenever you want. I actually would encourage you to practice it and see how it feels when you're doing the forward fold, and feel free to do it whenever you're practicing your forward fold. Because so many of us underuse our inner thigh muscles, you're probably going to find it really helpful for your forward fold. But if you are somebody who already has pretty strong inner thigh muscles and you find that when you do this, it doesn't help your forward fold at all, or it makes your forward fold worse, then don't use this strategy. Every human body has certain predilections and preferences, and yours may be different from mine. So if you test this out and you find it doesn't work for you, then don't use it. But if it does help you, I want you to drop me a comment down below and let me know how much it helped you. How many extra degrees of range of motion did you get in what period of time? Please drop me that comment down there. If you haven't seen my other video on how to touch your toes, then be sure to check the description box, and I'm going to throw a link up here so that you can watch that video when you're through with this one. If you found this video super helpful, then click that thanks button or use the PayPal link that you'll find in the description box to leave me a monetary tip. I promise I will not use your money to have a surgeon cut my hamstrings so I can touch the floor. And if you don't want to leave me a tip, that's totally fine. Just click the like button, share this video, subscribe with notifications on. And as always, I hope you remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't.